Hi, my name is Dion Flynn, and welcome to my basement vlog. I had a lot of ideas about this little show, like it would be a show of its own, and I have segments, and it may evolve into that eventually. But right now, what it's going to be is I've made a mind map here of my day and what happened, some interesting stuff I want to talk about, and there may be music in later segments, but not tonight. I didn't bring my guitar down. What happened? I saw a guy get killed today. Um, on Atlantic Avenue. You can look it up in the news. Well, my son and I were walking up the street and we were in the vegetable store. Boom, something happened up the street. And I've got this weird sense when something like that happens. Like I really want to go investigate. I want to just see life on the front line and see what happened and what's going on. I'm self-conscious about my cowboy shirt because one of my buddies from the Roots wouldn't hug me one day because I'm not going to say who wouldn't hug me when I was at the studio because I had a cowboy shirt on. He literally wouldn't touch me. You know who you are. Anyway, I know that's in frame, and I thought about cutting it out. But, I want this to be real. I want this to be, front lines of life, too. So this guy's lying on the street, and, I mean, it was pretty nasty. There was blood. And the guys who arrived from the fire department were scattering this stuff that like the janitor used to scatter when people vomited in class back in fourth grade, I remember. This dust pan, sawdust stuff, I guess. It was like this magical pixie dust. The thing that was the most interesting about it to me was that I had never seen that dust, and he was just sprinkling it around like he was covering up a dirty secret. There at the crime scene, a guy in a Mercedes had hit this older guy in his 50s, and he was there, and he was dead. He died. They were trying to resuscitate him, but it just seemed kind of hopeless. And my son was there. I turned him around. He was in his stroller. Turned him away so he couldn't see any of it. He was just like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He was trying to look around, and I didn't let him. So there was that. Something interesting happened though, because the key food right across from where the death was happening, the ladies inside were like, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time." Like a month ago, another guy, "This street is no good." And the lady behind me in line, we were all talking like that facade of that social facade dropped, and we were all in on the same event that was happening because it was life and death. The blinders, that people, myself included, put on when we're walking down the street, they get stripped away when someone's dying right outside and his blood is being dusted over like a bad secret. So that happened, and then later I ran into the lady that was behind me. I ran into her like a block or two later, and she was like, "I just feel like I'm out in the Twilight Zone. I just came here to get some ice cream. I just came out of my house to get some ice cream." And I felt what she was doing, although there was also this sense that she was like a little, I don't know, like her normal self, I think, was starting to come back, and whatever shared humanity we all had, I think she was starting to get back into her life, which I feel like is normal. And then I feel like I'm sitting here trying not to tell you that I was a weirdo who was like trying to keep the familiarity going, because I really wasn't. I was on the sidewalk just going home, and what happened was a bus that had been rerouted due to this dead guy laying in the street. The bus cut in front of us on our very small streets in the neighborhood, so it seemed very odd, and we couldn't cross the street, and I think that's what started the conversation. So there's that. For some reason, I really don't want you to think I started that secondary conversation. I can't remember exactly whether I did, but it's important to me that you don't think that I did. Not just for reasons of talking to a strange woman in the streets, but for reasons of hanging on to a great moment when the social facades were stripped. So that happened. I've been sitting in a lot of anxiety because I have a lot of writing assignments that are coming up and appearances that are going to be happening, not just here but in Europe. And I've got writing to do, and I've got, things to do to prepare for those so that they'll be funny and they'll be succinct and they'll be effective. And I sleep, it runs through my head as I sleep at night. I spoke at I gave a talk this morning, and that went well, and I noticed, I haven't talked to this group in a long time, so I noticed some changes that have happened to me since I first met these people years ago. Don't ask about what the group is. It's just, it's a certain thing. I've been trying to book some hotels and things for things that we're doing. We're going on a little family trip, and I realized TripAdvisor is like full of tattletales. But I like it. It helps me. It benefits me. People are like, "Oh, you think it's a good hotel? But what about this baseboard?" And there's photos there. You know what I mean? "Oh, what about this hair that was found in the bed?" And people are just looking for blood and bad. People are just photographing the blood and bad electrical connections, and it all benefits us. But there is that little bit of a tattletale element, which I don't like. So this is the end of my first vlog. I'm only going through it once. I'm not going to edit. I'm not going to go back and rethink about it too much. I won't be able to do it every day. I'll get too obsessed. I'm an obsessive thinker sometimes. All right.